with another episode of Global News Update. This is Luca Majno, and we're going to be speaking with Frank Gregory Ford very shortly. This is Global News Update on TLBTV, courtesy of the Liberty Beacon, where we give you complete, backstage, and up-to-date info as to the developments occurring in our world today. Good day to all of you, and thank you so much for watching. We just have to tell you what happened. Yesterday, I was doing the show with Greg, as usual, and suddenly we got what he would call NSA interference, and the recording went off. I lost the file. I was not able to retrieve anything, and we had a good part of Snapshot. Snapshot is where we take pictures to drive home the message that we're speaking of in our episodes. I'm here to talk about divide and conquer today. Why? Because I see that it's one of the most important and most effective tools in the disuniting of all of us. So everybody's hooked up with the narrative. You know, they see the shooting, they see the shooter, they see the narrative of the media, they go along with that, but nobody really has the time to understand or to recognize the signatures of these events. Nobody really knows because they don't have the time to investigate, right? So it's always the same thing being played out over and over again. So it's our job here on shows like this to go over all the factors contributing to our demise, as they say. So my first picture on Snapshot today is exactly that. It's divide and conquer. It's what they do best. And I wanted to offer the different ways that I could see in which they do that. It's called the polarization of humanity. This is what divide and conquer is all about. It's called the polarization of humanity. They separate us into classes, into races, black against white, you know, West against East. They divide us through religion. It divides, it controls, and it deludes. They control us through manipulation. And just in this case, just in this small example, look at all the subgroups there are. And that's not even going over it thoroughly. In this game of divide and conquer, we are merely pawns. They keep us busy fighting each other instead of fighting them. You know what that's called? That's called neo-colonialism. Colonialism is when I have a gun to your head. And neo-colonialism is when I have a gun to my own head. It's really ironic how everyone on the left has turned into conspiracy theorists and everyone on the right has turned into obedient statists. Two things I want to mention on this picture. Look at the job well done. It's all Photoshop. You can tell Trump on the left has exactly the same chest and nipple as Vladimir Putin, and the arm is exactly the same. The lighting is the same. It's done really well. On the right, I found it really ironic to see him with an eagle, because as we remember by the next pictures, what happened when an eagle was presented to him, and he, you know, at the White House or wherever he was, the eagle freaked out on him and tried to attack him and ruined his hairdo. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I just do my research. So should you. What if I told you, and this is probably one of the most important posts, probably one of the most important points I'd like to make today, no matter how much information you share with your friends about the corrupt government and our liberties disappearing, 97% just won't clue in. They won't care until it's too late. And then they're going to wonder, as I said earlier, they're going to wonder how we allowed this to happen. Okay? So I'm proud to be among the 3% left, because that's what it is. 100 minus 97 is 3. 3%ers in the 1700s, in 1776, during the American Revolution, the amount of colonists going against the king with their arms to fight never amounted to more than 3% of the colonists in general. So it's nice to be known as a 3%er, because that's what we really are. We're the warriors of today. So I'd like to think we're 3%ers as well. We are all being played. This is all about divide and conquer. They keep us fighting with each other. They want us to keep fighting each other instead of them. and they have ways to do it. Divide and conquer, as I just said, if they keep us fighting with each other, we'll never, ever fight the true enemy, the establishment. And look at the different examples and the mechanisms they have: skin color, religion, class, nationality, language, social customs, sexual preference. That's another one. We're puppets for the establishment, basically. We're enslaved puppets. And there's no better example than that one to show you. We have to question everything, absolutely everything. Always, always, always question everything, especially when you're surrounded with liars. The Supreme Court of Israel, anybody who likes to listen to David Icke, he has a fabulous presentation called The Elephant in the Room, where he explains the Supreme Court of Israel, and he explains how Israel got to be. And in this case, they purposely designed satanic symbols all over the place when they were doing the structure. And on the roof of the court sits the Illuminati pyramid, along with Lucifer's all-seeing eye, all kinds of Illuminati symbols all over the place. I found this on social media. I found this pretty interesting. The state of Israel is the breeding ground for Jewish extremism and terrorism. Ask the CIA. Oh, really? Oh, look at this. Facebook? Oh, yeah, it's completely safe. They'd never spy on you or manipulate the media to slow the truth and to speed up the lies to benefit them. Most trustworthy people I know, right? We will have a world government, whether you like it or not. The question is whether that government will be achieved by conquest or consent. That was Paul Wahlberg speaking in 1950. He said that. And there are many ways to look at the verifications for all that, because they're pretty much everywhere. And I'm going to be asking Greg about this picture when the show starts up. So this is what I was able to re-record what's coming up now with this slide. So with this, we'll continue Global News Update. This is the part that we're going to be rejoining right now. Okay, I'm going to share screens again. We're recording once again. Can you see my video, Greg?
Yes.
Okay, this was the last thing on Snapshot that I wanted to comment on. There are actually 2 or 3 of them, but this is the most important one. And I wanted your comment on this. If the New World Order agenda is not realized by the terrorist attacks on America, and if Americans, of course it's not well written, but that's all right. If Americans don't agree to give up their weapons and relinquish their sovereignty to the New World Order, the next attack will be the use of chemical, biological, and/or atomic warfare against the American people. The architects of the New World Order will not hesitate to use, as a last resort, an atomic or hydrogen bomb in a major American city. That was supposed to be an op-ed in the New York Times, 9/24/01. I saw that and I wanted to add this in the show with Snapshot, because we're talking about divide and conquer and different ways the government's doing their agenda. What do you think about this one?
Well, it's about as applicable as anything I've been telling our listeners. All right. I've told our listeners about how our country and our past presidents have been involved in manufacture of nuclear weapons. Yes, the Bush family is responsible for new nuclear weapons designed to attack cities. All right. Nuclear pits. Mm-hmm. I think I gave the definition of to all my listeners, which I discovered in the Al-Qaeda facility in Iraq. All right.
Right.
Each nuclear pit can destroy a city. And not a bomb. It's a nuclear detonator. Okay. And I also told all our listeners about the P-400 1,000-pound converted bomb casings that the Bush family so magnanimously sold to the Hussein regime to kill cities. Mm. All right, 300,000, maybe 500,000 dead Kurds. All right, 1.5 million dead Iranians. All right, are evidence that those weapons to kill.
Right.
Okay? And yes, they don't have a hesitation because look, people, you're wondering, oh, they wouldn't do that to us. They already have done it to you. All right? Remember the 5th of November, Guy Fawkes Day, just
Right.
happened over the weekend.
Mm.
All right? And Guy Fawkes attempted to stop what big government was doing to the British people. Okay? And he gave his life for it as a result. They still celebrate Guy Fawkes Day today. Okay?
Yeah.
You might know this from the movie V for Vendetta. That's what the movie's all about.
Yeah.
Well, guess what, folks? These people will sacrifice you as they did on the 7th of December, 1941. All right? They knew for a long period of time before that the Japanese were going to choose and bomb Pearl Harbor and destroy Pearl Harbor. How many thousands died? 3,000.
Right.
What is it about the number 3?
Right.
3,000 died. Okay? And for all those poor people in New York, guess what the American government did for you? Guess what they brought you? Okay? Another 3,000 dead in New York City.
Right.
All right? And anybody that stood up and tried to blow the whistle and stop it, guess what? They were thrown into prison, or like me, they were tortured or renditioned.
Yeah.
All right? So that's what we have. That's how gentle and kind our government is. And now, within the last few hours, we've had the release of the Kennedy papers. Not all, okay? It's actually, that's what was termed to me, it's the tip of the iceberg in terms of the number of papers that were released.
Right.
Okay? And surprise, the same people that brought you World War II, same people that brought you World War I, Samuel Bush, okay? Same people that brought you the destruction of the World Trade Center. Yes, the Bush family. Yes. And now here the Kennedy papers are saying the Bush family is responsible for blowing our elected president of the United States, blowing his head off. Okay? What part about that don't you people understand? These folks don't care. Okay? They never cared. All right?
Right.
All they see is a big deal for their not original Nazi backers. Okay? Yes, the Bush family are a bunch of old Nazis. Nazis. Okay? There's no difference between them and the people that were gassing the Jews in Auschwitz, Buchenwald, okay, Dachau. Oh, I'm sorry. There's another collusion, okay? Because the Bush family were selling Cyclone B and to IG Farben. They sell the royalty rights to IG Farben to produce Cyclone B. Okay? What part about this don't you understand? And let me ask anybody. I'm going to ask, because I don't know the reason why. Okay? I'm going to ask this question. Now the papers have clearly pointed to Poppy Bush, that sweet, gentle old patrician, okay, filthy little Nazi bastard, all right? Well, that filthy little Nazi bastard, okay, was laughing. There's films of him laughing about Kennedy getting his head blown off by that deranged gunman, okay? Well, now we know this, people. Why hasn't our government prosecuted the Bush family? Okay? Why haven't they prosecuted the Bush family? Why haven't they?
Because the Bush
really like to know.
Because the Bush family owns them.
Absolutely. That's it. Why haven't they prosecuted the Bush family? Okay?
It gets worse and worse, Greg.
Ask your representatives that. Okay?
It gets worse and worse. I just want to share one more thing and snapshot with you before I finish this.
There's no statute of limitations on murder. All right? No. And they clearly murdered our president.
And they don't care either. I want people to look at this. I hope this is still recording because we got bumped off last time we showed stuff like this. The protocols. You can look at them in any way, shape, or form. What I did was I took them from here and I made them look better in different formats, black and white, or even 3D. But this is the one These are the protocols that they're living by. And if you look at, if, we're going through, actually, we're going through every single one of them right now, Greg. And
Okay.
some of them are just, they leave you completely speechless. They just come out at you more than others do. And what I wanted to do was even build some shows or comment on some of them in some of our future shows, because they're horrifying. If people want to put this on pause and look at it, because we don't have time to go through every one of them, obviously, but they're written in different formats because that's what I was able to do for the show today. So I just wanted to throw that in. It's an agenda that we're living that has been written for centuries, and they're just carrying it out play by play, and they don't care, and they never have. So what's the problem, right?
Well, the problem is, and I think we all know it, is only 3% of the people listen. Okay? Yes, 3% of the people will sit there and say, oh gosh, okay, somebody better do something. And they go out and do it. All right?
Right.
You think America is defeating ISIS? Okay? The product of our
Exactly.
corrupt, vicious politicians? No. Okay, here's the deal. All right, for instance, this is personal right now. The L3 group,
Mm-hmm.
okay, it was started and run by Israelis. Virtually all the piracy you see in the Far East, on of ships, that's all run by L3 and Israel.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the funny thing is I was talking to somebody who was on one of our naval ships, and they couldn't believe their eyes either. They were in the Persian Gulf, steaming into Kuwait City, and a ship that they had brought in, it was an Iraqi flagged oil tanker. Surprise. There it is. It's passing them on the way in, okay, from their ship. On the way out, it's headed to,
Mm-hmm.
and it has a crew of 5. Well, the Israelis turned over the Philippine crew from this ship to the Kuwaitis. They were summarily executed by the Kuwaitis, okay, on our request, and the ship was used and put into the Operation Shell game. Okay, Operation Shell game is something that you've never heard about. The listeners of this show have never heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it is the greatest war crime ever to happen. War profiteering scheme, bar none, ever to happen. And guess what? You people paid for it. And L3, when they found out that I knew about it, they had me renditioned,
Mm-hmm.
strapped to a stretcher, and tortured and flown out. L3 did. Israel did,
Right.
folks. Okay, so does that give you an idea what we're facing and who's responsible? So here, what happened is then we have these torture prisons all up and down Iraq, now, which are now in 157 different countries. All right, copper green. Remember that, copper green. Well, what happens now is all the graduates from those torture programs all become ISIS.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they are the ISIS enemy. And so what I find out is 3 days ago, the reason why ISIS is being defeated, it's not because the Americans are bombing them and really doing them good. Okay. No, afraid not, folks. It's little groups out of Scandinavia that are binding together and going over and helping the Syrians fight the ISIS groups.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Including women. All right. Whole groups. Okay. Project YQF. Okay. YQF. All right. That's who's making the difference. It's the 3% out there, not the Joe six-pack, thick-fingered, open-mouth, gapping sods that that can't tear themselves away from from CNN.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
They want CNN for 5 minutes, and that brings me to another issue about what's going on. People, stop watching CNN. That's the biggest bunch of CIA-controlled buffoonery I've ever seen. And you say, well, what should we watch for the news? Okay, here, I'm going to really shake some peach trees here. Okay, I'm going to knock some peaches loose here. Russia Today, RT, headline news, Russia Today. Watch it for 5 minutes. You'll learn something, okay?
Yeah.
Watch CNN for 2 hours. I guarantee you, ask yourself, did I learn anything about what's happening today? No, I didn't learn anything, all right? Russia Today will show you what's going on. Please tune in Russia Today on your super duper cable or satellite dish or whatever. Whatever you do to get Russia Today, get it, okay?
Greg,
Now,
there's something I have to add before we go. Somebody from the Alien Society, they're called, they commented on our last show. They said that no, Valiant Thor is not real. The person says, I've been investigating this story for over 5 years. Frank Ernest Stranges created the story of Valiant Thor in 1960, and he is the young man called Valiant. That's all they said. So,
want to bet the farm? You want to bet the farm on it? That's what I say to the member of the, what is it, the Alien Nation or whatever?
Alien Society. Explain to us in detail what you know about that comment. What do you want to say to that?
Okay, what I'm saying is
they're saying it's not true, and that they've been investigating the story for 5 years. Frank Ernest Stranges created the story of Valiant Thor in 1960, and he himself is a young man called Valiant.
Well, funny thing is, the Eisenhower family seems to think it's pretty real. So, I'll leave it at that. And I know this is the kind of response I would get, especially from a compromised media. All right. And that would give you an idea, after seeing a couple of documents, about why Kennedy would take the extraterrestrial question to the public. And he was dead 3 weeks later after he said he was going to do it. And the person who he said that to, Alan Dulles, okay, was the one who said, yes, we are going to blow your head off.
Right.
John Fitzgerald Kennedy.
They would have loved to anyway because he got fired, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, what can I say in these interesting times, okay? But, hey, you might as well add that to the whole list of people that have been denying that, that there was more than one gunman on the Kennedy assassination, okay? And now we're finding out, hell, there was multi-agencies involved in the Kennedy assassination.
Yes.
All right? There it is. And let's face it, we've been on a downhill skid ever since that time.
Yes,
endless wars, pointless wars. The military-industrial complex has been out of control, okay? So to the person who called in, I say, you want to bet the farm?
Yeah.
Okay.
I had to share that. I had to share that because we really do want to encourage people to write in and to let us know what you think after you see our show on YouTube. And Greg, I can't thank you enough, as usual, for being in the battle and having me along. It's always an honor, and I can't thank you enough. And we'll see you next time on Global News Update.
I'd like to just say thank you for our listeners, and I'm glad somebody is out there listening. I'm glad for the comments. Please pay attention, and we're open always
3%.
for input. Okay, always for input. Yes, we're looking for the magic 3%. All right. There it is. Thank you so much.
So the 3%ers have a new affiliation or a new name or a new what? A new affirmation or a new chapter, okay? Because I've always wanted to include myself in the 3%ers. I do. I got to get myself a sticker for my car too. Thanks a lot, Greg.
Absolutely. My pleasure as always. Thanks so much, Luca.